most ancient and the priceless civilization in the whole world, India. A country where love, affection, respect and the culture is timeless. It can't be denied the people of this country are still excellent in creativity, artistry and hardworking.
So yes, India has a long tie-up with UAE. In fact, 25 years back, most of the people from India came here by means of waterways, by boats, and they established their business here. So if you go to see, a big chunk of this market has traders who are of Indian origin. In fact, even some of the big names in industry, like Lulu, belongs to an Indian, Roy Alucas, even Jumbo Electronics is owned by Indian, Jackie's Electronics. So major businessmen here are Indians. So they came here 25, 30 years back, developed this country, and they have extreme support from the government because they are the ones who've helped them raise this country to where it is today. To begin with, Indian history has over 500,000 of years back where civilization initially started, from the prehistoric era, because India is right in the center of the mainland, if you see, Asia. So all the land drifts started with right from the time human beings existed. It came from that time. And we have over 500,000 years of civilization gone into it. So beginning with the prehistoric era where the Stone Age and civilization developed, going on to the Vedic period where societies were formed, and the first manuscripts or language came into being called the Sanskrit, which is the ancient old scriptures that we have in India. Then a little modernized society came in called urbanization, where groups were formed and dynasties were formed. So if you go to see, like you have different areas coming together and forming smaller dynasties. Going further was the medieval and early modern period, where we had invasions in the north, since we had people coming in from the Muslim governed areas over here, which ruled into the north of India, and they started capturing India. So we had even the Greek, Romans started invading in India long back. So slowly we had the growth of Muslim population in India. Delhi, which is our current capital, started gaining popularity. Delhi is located up north here. So Delhi became a prime spot because everybody wanted to capture Delhi and the area around it because it's a very high agricultural region. So it was a need for food and people wanted to capture that. Going further, we landed up having the Mughal, which is the primarily Muslim dominated society which came in, the Marathas and the Sikhism. The Maratha formed its empire around the west coast. Sikhism and Mughals were more in the north. So slowly the whole India started getting captured by invaders into the country. Then started the European exploration, whereby Britishers came in. They came in from the west coast over here, from Goa, and they started colonizing India little by little. They reached a point. So by around 1850, nearly the whole country was occupied by Britishers. We were under British dominance for a very long time. And then the first rebel started in 1857, where we tried to break across from the British Empire. The freedom movement went on for almost 80 to 90 years. And then finally, in 1947, we received independence from the British rulers after the World War II. So that is the history. Of course, if you go into details, it's far more extensive. But this is just to give a background.
Okay.
Yeah. So our Independence Day is 15th August, and we celebrate our Republic Day on 26th January. And our current Prime Minister is Mr. Narendra Modi, and he has built up in his last 2 years very strong relations and affiliates with UAE. So the relationship between UAE and India has become stronger ever since he has taken over as the Prime Minister. So that's India. We have 26 states which operate independently, have their own smaller government which reports to the central government, and then we have 7 territories, union territories, which are managed by the central government. 23 official languages, 1652 dialects. So huge number, though the national language is Hindi, but if you go down south to Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, the Hindi speaking population is very, very low. People more popularly speak English in down south.
Kerala, what is Kerala?
Kerala is here.
Oh, okay.
English is also common language.
It's very
Of
common.
course.
It's very common in India. Okay, it's the 7th largest country in the world. Some statistics. 3rd largest in Asia. Yoga was first practiced in India and is introduced to the world by India. It's one of the meditation means which help you live a better life. It's also the origin for martial arts. It's the largest democracy in the world. With a population of 1.3 billion, it's the 2nd largest in the world, next to China by just some 60 or 70,000 million left to cross. It's a very competitive nation. In fact, most of the IT and prime positions in the US are occupied by Indian origin people.
Yeah.
Like even Mr. Sundar Pichai, head of Google, is an Indian from Tamil Nadu. It's the fastest growing IT superpower, 2nd largest English speaking population. Indian Railways is the largest employer in the world. And it has invented zero, the concepts and most concepts of mathematics, and chess was originated from India as well. So these are a few of the achievements in the past. The religion divisions, as I already mentioned, these are the major ones. There are a lot of smaller religions and communities, but since the percentage is very low, did not put it up here. Hinduism by far is the largest, and most of the festivals we celebrate in India are from all the religions. It's a very big potpourri of culture. So all festivals are celebrated in synchrony with different religions. Like in India, if you go, you'll find Hindus celebrating even Ramadan, Muslims, they will go for Eid and other things. And even Muslims come down to celebrating Diwali or Christmas. So it's an absolute potpourri, even though we are different by religion, but people follow all the customs very commonly over there. Coming to Indian culture, it makes a lot of difference as to who you know. Contacts in the industry play a lot of importance. Even seniority or family ties are very strong. A lot of people still live in joint families back home in India. The concept of nuclear families is gaining popularity now, but commonly, yes, joint families are very, very big. Marriages are generally arranged marriages with the consent of parents and approval from the parents. This is some of our traditional wear from some of the areas in India. Where arts and other cultural activities are concerned, we have a lot of classical musical instruments, as well as we have around 15 different classical forms of dance. So each state, especially from down south, like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, they all have a different form of dance which they specialize with. Coming to the geography of India, we have snow-clad mountains up north in Kashmir. We have a coastal line having very coastal food like fishes and fishery being a common occupation in the west coast. We have a dry land in Madhya Pradesh. It has as good as desert with very high heat and very cold winters. West coast, the climate is relatively not too extreme between summer and winter, but rains are terrible because it rains far more than what you saw in the last 2 days here. And then again up north, we have a whole lot of agricultural region here. It's very popular for rich agriculture. East is very popular for good tea, fresh tea, And there's a lot, in Assam is like the biggest supplier of tea in the world. Again, this is a coastal area, so more of fisheries, but they have a lot of other trade as well, even coffee plantations and so on. Kerala, very popular for its backwaters, scenic beauty. Yeah, so geographically also there's a big mix, right from snow to desert to agricultural zones, coastal area. It's a total mix in geography as well for India. Some of the famous personalities. Mahatma Gandhi was our freedom fighter, one of the main freedom fighters. It's because of him, in a big way, we contribute our freedom from the Britishers at that time. Jawaharlal Nehru, he was the first Prime Minister in India after the freedom struggle. Mother Teresa, Sachin Tendulkar, he is a cricketer, very popular, and very well known as well. Huge crowds following him everywhere. Rabindranath Tagore was a person of literature, and Nobel Prize winners, Mother Teresa and Rabindranath Tagore. Amitabh Bachchan, the most popular film star known in the world from India. C.V. Raman, he's a physicist, also a Nobel Prize winner in 1930. Aryabhatta was the first one to introduce the concept of zero and mathematics to the world. So, in all, there are a lot of people who've contributed to different aspects of society, and they are from Indian origin. There are a lot of big businessmen also in India, and they are expanding their business to other areas of the world. Even where IT is concerned, India is a very big player in the market.
Of course.